So, imagine we have a week like last show that happened to have a great way to kick things off. And then you have a consecutive week where you have to follow Gordon Ramsay's smart speaker. Like, how do you top that? Well, I know I'm submitting it to Sundance, so there's that. Now, something that's impressive in its own right is that starting with this episode, Season 8 is now the 5th longest season of the show, with 13 episodes. So, that's pretty nice. Now, I know somebody out there is probably saying, Rob, that's just how episode counts work. I mean, the number just keeps getting higher, buddy. Shh. Yeah, it's okay. I'm not sure what that was, but we'll just move on from that. Everybody is a critic, aren't they? I mean, we all know how it is. Like, no matter how well something is received, 100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, it won some awards. Somebody will always have something to say about it. I mean, take this kid that made macaroni art, for example. It's got potential, but it's no Picasso. Stop wasting food, kid. I mean, people like this, you just know they saw Jaws and then left the theater because they were just throwing a fit because the shark looked fake. I mean, so much build-up just for that? I mean, Bruce from Finding Nemo was more convincing. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's just great. Of course, the show gets interrupted by something that's going on outside. Yeah, who knew ice cream trucks make their rounds at like 10 o'clock at night? But it's okay, we'll just ride it out. Are they parked? Okay, I'll be right back. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Rob Rodriguez. Now, as mentioned at the start of the show, this is the 13th episode released this season, which surpasses previous seasons in recent years. Now, to remind everybody, Season 8 started on a delay, so we didn't get to it until about January. So, why is it the seasons that started in October, aka on time, the seasons just kept getting shorter and shorter? No clue. Okay. Well, moving on from that, it's Singer-Songwriter Appreciation on the show, and if you caught last week's episode, I'm sharing the format with independent artists, and we get to hear their music and talk to them for a little bit. Which also means there is no second segment written for the show. So that's easier on me, that's easier on production, and it confuses the viewer 25% less. So that's pretty nice. Oh, hey Rod, how's it going? Rob, what are we gonna do with you? What are you doing, man? What do you mean, Rod? The viewers and myself were under the impression that the show was music themed, but you're just giving us the usual content. Well, I mean, this month is about music. Roll film. Hey, Rob Rodriguez here, and this month on the show, it's all about music. Oh, that. Can you say false advertisement? You know, I hate it when you kind of have a point. So, we've all been at the wrong place at the wrong time and said the wrong thing, I mean, you could call it talking with a foot in your mouth. No turning back now. Where were we? Okay. So, you've heard the saying, this is an A-B conversation, see your way out of it. Sometimes we allow people into the conversation, and then we just instantly regret it. I mean, man, you don't know the half of it. They were just so rude to me. Man, I can't imagine being in your position. Maybe it's you. Who let this guy in the building? I mean, sometimes we just talk blindly, and more often than not, we don't notice that we rubbed people the wrong way just because of what we said. I mean, look at Kylie Jenner. This week, she said some tone-deaf comment about private jets, and we all know Lizzo. She tried to do the right thing. She removed a word from her new song, and then people are like, we're not going to forget what you did. Howie Mandel, of course, on the same boat for showing a video of a guy who should really be checked out by a doctor. And I'm pretty sure that's not COVID-related, Howie. But, back a year ago, a good example of this is when Addison Rae got a job as a reporter for the UFC. And, she tweeted out something that people did not really like. She tweeted out something saying, it only took some little bit of college and here we go, dreams come true. Of course, I'm paraphrasing here. Follow the script, Rob. Yeah, and, people didn't like that, and shortly after she tweeted that, she was no longer a reporter for the UFC. But, it's okay. People bounce back, and we get things like a She's All That sequel. And in response to that, let's watch this clip of Rachel Lee Cook doing a PSA.
Any questions?
How about this? You ever compliment someone and they just took it wrong? I mean, I guess it depends on the day that they're having. Like, the ice cream machine at McDonald's. It's probably broken per usual. They just wanted a cone, and gee, same story, different day, I guess. But, you're in passing with a friend of yours, and then you're like, wow, you look great today. So I look a mess every other day. What? No, I'm just making conversation. So I'm ugly now, too. Wow, I'm not sure where you got that. Of course not. I'm just going to go somewhere else before I dig this hole any deeper. When you do a show like this one, I mean, there are definitely times where you do look bad, and you definitely wish you could take certain things back. I mean, Tom Holland is an excellent Spider-Man. And JoJo Siwa is far from being the Miley of the future. Number 4, JoJo Siwa is the Miley of the future. And we can't forget about that Johnny Depp reference that we made in November without knowing the full story. Pirates of the Caribbean, if you want to see a man hiding from his ex-wife. But, we learn as we go, and, I've been tone deaf. I take full accountability. Also, is it a bad time to bring up that the show has been renewed for 2 more years? Yeah, I mean, I know we made this announcement last year, but 14 months later, we're just confirming it. Well, we've got a lot of show to fill, so that being said, I'm going to need a minute. All right, singer-songwriter appreciation continues. This week, my guest is a very talented artist, all the way from London. And her Greek single, Hilia Samatia, which translates to 1,000 Scars in English, is out now, and you can check it out on YouTube or Spotify, and I'm sure among other places as well. Performing her song, Is This Love? Please welcome to the show, Nathalie Miranda.
Is this love? Is this love?
I knew you'd be here tonight. I look at you and I'm affected. You got something I like. You're waking up my appetite. I got you on my mind. You fascinate me in a way that I just can't define. And I've been here 100,000 times. Always the same, that's the way it goes. I gotta know, is this love that I'm feeling? Is this love that I'm feeling tonight that I feel for you? Is this love? Am I dreaming? Woo! Is this love tonight? When I look in your eyes, I can see my soul reflected, and I realize you're the only one for me. But I gotta know, is it a yes or no, or maybe am I losing my mind? You got me waiting on your call. Always the same, that's the way it goes, yeah. I gotta know, is this love that I'm feeling? Is this love that I'm feeling tonight that I feel for you? Is this love? Am I dreaming? Yeah, yeah. Is this love tonight? I've been waiting for you, baby, all my life. And I just can't let this go inside. I need to hear you say 3 little words tonight. The words I'm dreaming of. Is this love? Is this love that I'm feeling? Is this love that I'm feeling tonight that I feel for you? Is this love? Am I dreaming? Yeah, yeah. Is this love tonight? Is this love? Is this love? Oh, feeling tonight for you. Is this love, my baby? Is this love tonight?
Wow, that was excellent. Absolutely fantastic. And here she is, Nathalie Miranda. Nathalie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, my pleasure. It's great to have you. So, your sound is described as retro pop and retro rock. Would you say you're influenced by the 80s and 90s?
Oh yes, absolutely. I was really small in the 80s, very very little, and I grew up in the 90s really. But I love the 80s. I wish I was like 20 years older so that I really could have lived the 80s and experienced the music and the hair and the movies and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I think we are on the same boat because I wish I could have experienced the 90s myself. But, over time I've accepted that I'm just a millennial born in the wrong decade. Anyway, so Is This Love, which is your song, by the way, excellent performance. Would you say that was influenced by what was trending in the 80s?
I really wanted to, with Is This Love, I really wanted to pay tribute to that 80s sound and the 80s pop songs that are so iconic, They were so simple, but we still remember them all these years later. We still dance to them, we still cover them.
You said on TikTok that Whitney Houston inspired Is This Love. I Want to Dance with Somebody was a big inspiration. Is that right?
Yeah, I kind of like visually, I mean, I love the 80s and the music videos from the 80s are just my favorite. but that one in particular is just so colorful and full of blues and purples and pinks, and that's exactly the idea I had for my video for Is This Love. So the dress I'm wearing in that video, it was so hard to find, and eventually I found something that was quite similar to the one Whitney wears. I was so happy.
We actually have a side-by-side comparison, and I think you pay homage very well, and the video accurately fits the decade, if I do say so myself.
The treatment we gave the video in post, you know, in the editing process, I wanted it to be just really bright and colorful, and but the song as well, my song has a key change in it, and so does I Want to Dance with Somebody, and yeah, so I kind of based it on that.
I mean, I always appreciate a good key change. I mean, it's like a bass drop in a song. It's like you never expect it, but when it hits, it's like, whoa, you know? Anyway, you're a huge fan of Freddie Mercury. Is it fair to say you're a Freddie encyclopedia?
To some extent, yeah. He's just I love everything about him. He's my number one. I don't know if you can see in the up here. I've got pictures of him on the wall, just here. So yeah, I'm a bit obsessed.
You know, Freddie is definitely one of the greatest and always will be. Now, speaking of powerful voices, you have very powerful vocals and a very unique sound. And a lot of people find you and they like to say you sound like Cher. Does that ever get old?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I love Cher. I've always loved Cher, and I think she's a chameleon. She's just I love everything about the way she kind of stands up for herself, and her music is always really powerful. So it's a huge compliment, but it's also a bit like a lot of people say to me, "Oh, it's so nice to hear another alto singer," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not an alto. I just happen to do a specific thing with my voice in certain parts of my songs. I'm actually a soprano."
Now, normally I would have brought up The Sopranos on HBO, but you know, I'm trying to be professional here. This is about music. So you're a soprano key, but you often get confused as an alto. I see.
It's just really annoying having to kind of say it to people all the time, you know. But it is a huge compliment. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if I could have a career even this much as long and as successful as Cher's, I'd be really happy. But I would really just like people to kind of hear me as myself. That's why when people ask me, what's your music like? If you could compare your music to an artist, or who do you sound like? I usually just say I sound like myself. I've got lots of different influences, so many, and it's all just kind of created one sound, because we're all individual at the end of the day, and you can only sound like yourself unless you're on purposefully impersonating, which is a different thing. But yeah, so that's what I say. But I do love Cher. I think she's great.
That's great. And so for everybody watching, your name is spelled Nathalie. Yeah, so there's a silent H. Now, you ever wonder why so many people put emphasis on the H in your name? Like pronouncing it Nathalie. Like, why do you think that is?
Well, it's the French spelling of the name Natalie, and I think for any, I mean, if you're not French or you're not familiar with that particular silent letter, then you're gonna naturally say th. So, and I've had lots of people say it to me over the years, and I have to correct them. But yeah, I think that's why, basically.
I mean, people spell my last name with a Q, which, you know, that's a little weird. So, earlier this month, you released Hilia Samatia, which is your Greek single, and it's been doing very well online, especially in the Greek community. So, how's that been?
Do you know what? The Greek community here in London is very strong, and when I first started singing when I was 16, that I performed at local events and stuff like that, and they've always supported their sort of local talent. but it's been a really long time since I've approached them to talk about my music. So I wrote a Greek song. I thought I'm going to approach them because it makes sense. They're a Greek newspaper and stuff like that. And a friend of mine managed to get the newspaper to talk to me and do the interview. And the London Greek radio here has been great. They've been playing the song pretty much every day. It means a lot actually because I'm really proud of my roots, and to know that actual Greek people, Greek listeners, and a Greek audience are liking the song is really special. And it's cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna play some of it for the viewers at home really quick.
Χίλια σημάδια θα σ' αφήσω, χίλια σημάδια στην καρδιά, να μετανιώσεις πως μου φέρθηκες εσύ. Χίλιες φορές να μην ξεχάσεις πως με κάνες και νιώσα εγώ, να καταλαβαίνεις πιο καλά τι έχεις κάνει. Χίλια σημάδια θα σ' αφήσω, χίλια σημάδια σοβαρά.
I love that. It's so full of passion and it's so powerful. Like, you gotta love that. Well, Natalie, you're wonderful. You're talented and a great conversationalist. Where can everybody find you?
So the best place for you to follow me on social media and to sign up to my mailing list is my website, nataliemiranda.com. And if you sign up, you will get a free download of Is This Love, which is my latest single. And I'm expecting to release another song at the end of July or the very first week of August. It's all good to go. It's all arranged. And I guess there'll be more music. There's certainly more dance music that I'm writing with producers as well. That just it's like a constant thing. But it would be great if you could support me on social media. So Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok and Twitter. I guess that's it.
Perfect. So you can stream Natalie's latest singles, Is This Love and Helia Samatya, on YouTube and Spotify. And, join her mailing list, NatalieMiranda.com. Follow her on social media. Links will be in the description. Natalie, you are wonderful. Thank you so much, and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Is this love? Is this love?
It's time for that weekly list known as the possibility list. It's kind of like getting your groceries 6 minutes before the store closes. I mean, it's kind of like the employees have lives too. Alright, this week's list is titled 8 Red Flags to Look Out For in a Listing on Facebook Marketplace. Oddly specific, but gets the job done, I guess. No hesitating with this one whatsoever. At number 8, brand new, only mildly worn leather jacket. Likely chance it's actually faux leather. Number 7, used pickup truck, washed, detailed by owner. I think we actually have a picture of what this truck looks like. Yep, there it is. Like new. Number 6, record vinyl player. I'm keeping my vinyl collection. Needle slight wear and tear. Okay. Number 5, sewing machine just for parts. Number 4, PS4 for rent by owner's nephew. Number 3, sneaker collection. Everything must go. I hate to part with my New Balance and Skechers, but gotta pay rent somehow. Number 2, vintage tool shed for sale. It's not haunted at all. You have my word. And number 1, 8 red flags to look out for in a listing on Facebook Marketplace. Pez collection. Willing to negotiate, but nothing lower than $750. Alright, and that is the possibility list for you this week. Alright, so as mentioned a couple times on the show, my mind is always racing. It's always on something different than what's happening right now. And that being said, I'd like to share some journal entries with you. Maestro, you know You know the routine. Yeah, there we go. I buy this peanut butter all the time, but I'm still unsure if it's GIF or JIF. 7:15 p.m. No one should ever judge a person who goes to a bar or club and doesn't like the taste of alcohol. I mean, in my eyes, live your life and enjoy your Virgin Shirley Temple. 10:45 a.m. I was asked why I don't audition for Wild and Out. It's because I'm lame, that's why. 12 midnight. Alright. Thank you for listening to my journal entries. Well, that is the show for you this week. You know how to follow me on social media. Until next time, if language arts taught you anything, just always remember to cross your T's and dot your I's. But if school really wasn't your thing, I mean, dotting your J's and crossing your I's was more like it. Well, that's my time. Take care.